These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Welcome to The Beautiful Bag. This is your host, LeeAnne Hayden, cancer survivor, and more importantly, Ostomy lifer. Each and every week, I'm going to be bringing a special guest or some inspiration for you and a few little stories along the way so that you can learn what life is like for us to be living in an ostomy and why we all think it's a beautiful bag. So listen in and let's get started. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beautiful Bag podcast. I am your host, LeeAnne Hayden, coming at you from the beautiful state of New Hampshire, where it is mid-50s. Spring is coming. Summer will be coming as well soon. So I hope you are all having an amazing day. And this week, or at this episode, I wanted to talk to you because I just got back from a mission trip in Honduras. I was away for this past week and went to the country of Honduras with a few people, a doctor, a nurse, and we went down and met a dentist who we've worked with before in Honduras, and brought medical supplies and worked with some of the villages there. And I want to just kind of share some stories of what it was like to travel in another country, up into the mountains, sleeping in a church under, in a church that was the size of a room, basically under, on cots with mosquito masks, mosquito netting around us and stuff like that. Like just how interesting some things are in life, and how even if we're in an ostomy and the things that we can still do, right? So sometimes you think, I can't do that anymore, or I won't be able to do that, or aren't you afraid? I've had people ask me, aren't you afraid to go to a country and be up in the mountains and in the woods or whatever, and you're in an ostomy, aren't you afraid of infections and stuff? So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of the story. So I've done this mission trip before. I did it 7 years ago when I was 9 months after my ostomy surgery. So that was a little bit more, I had a little more, I don't know, just have to be careful with it. So this trip, we left on a Saturday and we got back on a Saturday, but we flew down, flew through Miami, going through going through security. I have, knock on wood, never had an issue going through security with my bag, showing up or anything like that. So going through security, getting on the plane, sometimes I have issues, and I don't know if you guys do it. Maybe you can message me back and let me know this, but sometimes I have issues with the flight going up and then coming down. I don't know whether it's the pressure in the cabin or the pressure of the air or being up and down in the plane, but I end up going. I have a lot more movement. So my bag fills up a little bit more. At least that's what happens to me. So, I did do a bag change at the Miami airport. And then again, when we got into San Pedro Sula in Honduras, that was where we went. I was fine at that point. But, then we drive to the dentist's house. The dentist came and showed up, and we got a rent-a-car, and we drive to the dentist's house, and we're spending the night with her. And then we get up the next day, and what we found out when we got to her house is Honduras is having a water shortage. I can't even talk, a water shortage. And we could use water for 20 minutes a day. The city turned the water on for 20 minutes a day. So we were all jumping in, doing really quick showers. And typically I shower with my bag off. All right. And mind you, I think I took 3 showers, guys. I basically lived like the military does. I lived with baby wipes and hand sanitizer. But when I did get my showers, and typically, like I said, I take my bag off and, at home and just really shower. This time, I left my bag on. So when I was there, I was more concerned of, the water in Central America. There's parasites, things like that. We can't drink the water. Our guts aren't used to that. So, we got bottled water and stuff like that for us to drink. But with showering, I just wasn't sure. So I left my bag on when I showered because I didn't want my colon exposed to, who knows, right? The elements of what might happen. So first few nights we stayed at the dentist's home. And we would go out and do day trips to the villages, you know, a couple of hours out to a village, work with the people. I had I had the luxury of passing out clothing, which is a great thing to do. So the dentist was working with the patients, the doctors, we had 2 doctors, they were working with the patients. One of the nurses was taking, you know, the blood pressures. We had another woman who, who prayed on everybody. And then we had a pharmacist. We had a pharmacy where we would basically, guys, these people were so healthy. We would be giving them vitamins, ibuprofen, Tylenol. Like those were the things that they needed. Vitamins, ibuprofen, Tylenol from the pharmacy. Occasionally we would see somebody who needed an antibiotic or a cream or something like that. But typically everybody was super healthy. And so I was giving away clothes, and there was this little girl in this village, and she's just the sweetest thing. So she just kept coming over and looking at the clothes. And all we really had, for some reason, we were just blessed with a lot of baby girl clothes, like not little kid clothes, you know, not a lot of baby boy clothes, but just a lot of girl clothes. And she kept coming over and looking, and I was like, oh, well, I don't have anything for you, but, you know, I had some underwear for her that fit her, or, you know, I found a pair of Mickey socks, and her eyes lit up, and I kind of nodded and tucked them away. I said, when you come back around with your mom, or I tried to tell her, you know, as she spoke Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. I need to take a Spanish lesson. But she was excited, so she came back with her mom and her little sister and helped me pick out the clothes for her baby sister, right? So we loaded up a bag. I gave her mother a piece of jewelry. I gave her, you know, the pieces of underwear. And then she was trying to talk to me, and I couldn't understand what she said. So I got our interpreter. We had an interpreter as well, and I got him to come over. And you know, she says to me, she goes, "Do you like bananas?" And I'm like, "I love bananas." And she says, "Can you come to my house and have a banana with me?" And I was like, I can't leave. You know, we're not allowed to go somewhere alone, but I can't leave. I have to stay here and work with everybody. And she's like, "Well, what time do you leave here?" And this is all through the interpreter, right? And I look at the interpreter and I'm like, let me know, like, can you let her know in a nice way? Like, I can't leave. I don't know what time we're leaving here. We're here until we're done. And he did. And she just kind of nodded and put her head down. And then she says, then 5 minutes later, guys, she comes running back into the church with a black bag full of bananas for me, like full of bananas. I mean, they were ripe. They were really ripe bananas. And these people don't have anything, but she was so desperately wanting me to give me a gift because she just had such a great interaction with me. And she nodded to the table, and I went, "Oh, your socks. I forgot your socks." So I went and got her socks, and she just gave me the biggest hug. And it just made me feel so, I don't know, genuine gratitude for a pair of socks or attention or being part of something or being part of, like, being cared about, right? And her family, you know, you can tell she's totally loved by her family, and her little sister is, and they're very well taken care of. But it's just that gratitude, right? And she was just the sweetest girl. And then we were in, and let me tell you, with the bag of ultra ripe bananas, which they weren't edible, but I brought them out to the car. Everybody's like, "What are you doing with them?" I said, "Well, I'm going to walk out of here proud of my bananas because I'm proud of her giving me these. And I want to make sure if she's outside when we leave, I want her to see me with these bananas because it was so important to her." And it was just an amazing little experience. And then she ended up, so then another village. So we were at another village, and I shared my cancer story, my story of having cancer and how I'm in an ostomy. And the dentist, she's also a pastor, she asked me to share my testimony. You know, what happened to me, how I had the cancer, how I survived, things that happened to me through, you know, how I felt a hand on my shoulder. I think I told you guys a story, how I felt a hand on my shoulder right before I went in through surgery, and no one was there, but he was there, right? And I just felt this peace go through my body, like I'm going to be okay. And so she'd asked me to share my testimony. So I did that. And she told me, she goes, "Your testimony is so important because people here and people everywhere, guys, nobody wants to be in an ostomy, right? We didn't wake up one day and said, please, you know, let me be sick and be in an ostomy. It's not something that we wanted, but it's something that has saved our lives. And these people, and so she said it's important to these people because a lot of people will refuse to have these surgeries. So, me sharing that story is just important to get the message out. So it made me say, okay, I need to do this more, and I need to make sure I jump on here on the podcast because I have all of you out there who reach out to me every once in a while. And I know I haven't been consistent about these podcasts, so I apologize, and I always apologize about that. But, when I have stories to tell, and I have people that want to share their stories, I'm going to make sure that, more and more podcasts get out because we need more people to know that it's okay. And we need more people to know that, life is amazing and you can do amazing things, no matter where you are in this world. So I shared my story at that village. And then we went to another village and she looked at me and she said, there's someone here who had a brain tumor. And as you know, I had a tumor in my pelvis floor. And so she asked me if I would share my testimony with this man. So I had to get the interpreter. I go out and, I'm talking to him. And usually, they're Mayan, they're of the Mayan people. So they're usually shorter. He was taller, right? First, this was a tall man for Honduras. And he, he shared his story about his tumor and how he had faith. And how he had faith, so he wasn't afraid. And I told him my story and how I was afraid, right? When I found out about it, and I was afraid. And so we just kind of, through the interpreter, shared each other's stories. And then something inside me said to hug him. So I hugged him and he wrapped his arms around me and he held on so tight and buried his head in my shoulder like a child would. And I wrapped my arms around him and held his head. And after we let go, I went back into the church to finish working, and the doctor came in and said, the man's outside crying. And I'm like, I didn't mean to make him cry. And he goes, no, he's crying in a good way. He is so happy right now. He just feels so blessed and he's so happy right now. And again, made me think of the importance of us continuously sharing our stories, our struggles, how we've come through, and listening to other people, right? And listening to their stories and having them share their stories with us. So that was the second thing that happened on the trip. And then last, this dentist, right? So she wanted to bring us up. She builds churches. So right now she's building her 5th church. And she needs windows and flooring to finish the church. So guys, I'm reaching out to you guys. I will put my Venmo link into the notes of this, and I'm also going to post it out on social media as well. So what I would love to do is before April 17th, I would love to, whoever wants to donate, we can donate. You can send it over to my Venmo, and I'm going to take 100% of the proceeds. I'm going to match dollar for dollar for everything that we raise for money. And I'm going to send it down to her because everything she does for free. All her dental work is free. All her being a pastor, all of her blessings is free. She builds these church. It's free. She's not paid for anything. So everything she does has been through charity and donations, even her own collection of, money for gas to be able to get to these villages, which are 2 to 3 hours away. And the woman is 76 years old, guys. And she's still doing this. This has been her life's work. And she's continuing to do this for as long as she can. So I would love for us all to get involved and to donate. Again, I'll put my Venmo in the notes and then again out on social. And whatever dollar whatever you donate, I'm going to match the donation. And then together I'll send it down to her. I will take pictures. I will share them with whoever wants to donate and let you see the church windows going in. I'll have her take pictures and all of that. So that is going to be by April 17th is the plan for that, that little gift to giving back to a wonderful woman. So that aside, okay, so don't forget about that. But that aside, she wanted to try and go to a new village. And this new village was 2.5 to 3 hours up a mountain from the village that we slept in. So we drove 2 hours to the village to sleep in there. And then we had to go 2.5 hours to 3 hours up a mountain. Basically, it was 4-wheeling, guys. I sat in the back of the pickup truck for about an hour when we were getting to the top of it. And it was the most beautiful scenery. We went by, there was donkeys on the dirt road. It was all dirt road, right? All mountain. Donkeys, cows, people, flowers, coffee being grown along the mountainside. Just amazing views. It's just such a beautiful country and such a beautiful blessing. And when we got to the top of the mountain, they have electricity up there. Like electricity had been run up the whole top of the mountain. They don't have refrigerators. They don't have all that stuff. But they have electricity for a light, right? For light bulbs and things like that they can have up there. And we spent the whole day there, again, blessing all those people with, doctors and dentists and clothes and being, and medicine, right? Medicine of vitamins and, Tylenol. Again, it's healthy people. Few people needed amoxicillin, but that was about it. And just blessing these people. And one of the women said to one of the doctors, why did you come here? Like, why did you come all the way up here to see us? We don't have anything. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, God loves you too. Like, you're loved too. You should be taken care of too. And we're doing this because we believe that everybody's special, right? And everybody should have access to medical care, to dental care, and to know that they're loved. So that was just another unbelievable experience. And then on Saturday, on my way home and this is the first time this has ever happened to me. So on the way back, I was going through security in Honduras to get on the plane, and my luggage had to be checked. So they went through screening and something flagged it. So they went to open my luggage and they took my medical scissors. I have traveled for 7 years. You guys know that. I travel all over the place. And I always have a pair of medical scissors, right? To cut my flange. I've always had a pair in my carry-on or in my purse or somewhere. I happen to have 2 pairs, and she took them both. And she said that I couldn't have them, even though they were blunt. They weren't even sharp. They were blunt medical scissors. She told me I couldn't have them on the plane. They weren't allowed. So she took both pairs of my scissors. So I need to order more. And that was the first time that has ever happened to me on a flight. So just know that and be aware of that. So it made me think, okay, you know what? Next time I do, because it happened once, it could happen again. It probably won't. But I'm going to pre-cut some of my flanges just in case I have an emergency and my scissors they take my scissors again. So just a little tip for you there. And that was it. That's what I want to talk to you about because, guys, life is short, right? And we all know that. And, I've had people ask me about how did you go about finding this mission, this place to do these missions with. And I found mine through a friend of mine who's done mission trips, and I wanted to join her. She was my friend Laura, and she's the one that I've done this trip with a couple of times. And she knows of other places, to do mission trips that you want to look for. And again, we work with Vision International Mission, which is right here in Manchester, New Hampshire. And that's the foundation we work through to go through the missions. And they know the people. So basically, this dentist they've been working with for 30 years, right? So it's not like we're going to a country and going someplace where the person's not known. But that is where I've gone through. I've known other people that have gone through things through their churches, and through some bigger places. I know someone said that Convenient MD, the urgent care company, right? It's called Convenient MD. They do some medical trips. So you might want to check with them too if it's something that you're interested in. But I would love if you've ever been on a mission trip or you've ever done anything like that. I would love to hear your stories of how, what that was like for you. And again, because we're in an ostomy, it doesn't mean we can't still live our lives, and doesn't mean we can't do things that are out of our comfort zone. Sometimes we just have to be a little more careful in certain areas of places. I mean, this wasn't a third world country, it's a developed country, so wasn't too concerned. But again, it doesn't mean we can't do these things. So I hope you all have an amazing day, amazingly blessed day. Truly grateful for each and every one of you. And again, don't forget, if you want to contribute to Dr. Paz and you want to help finish putting up the church windows, put the windows into the church, the link is in the notes for my Venmo. It's basically, so the link is in the notes. You can see it in the notes for the Venmo if you want to send it. If not, shoot me a message and I will get it to you. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks again for listening. Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, get the behind the scenes at LeeAnneHayden.com/ostomy updates. And also, if you found this episode encouraging, please screenshot it and share it on Instagram. And don't forget to tag me and also the person who was on the episode with me. I occasionally will do special gifts for anyone who does do a screenshot and share it on Instagram or in your stories. Also, lastly, please go to Apple or Google, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to keep up with them every single week. I enjoy you guys. Thank you so much for being here.